And I wanted to talk about it because I had a chance to view it yesterday. And it is the WrestleMania 40 Behind the Curtain. Oh, hi. Yes.
Big finish.
Thank you very much. The pay-per-view WrestleMania that was held this year in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And they're saying it was the biggest pay-per-view of all time. It broke the merch records. It broke viewing records. I loved it. It was great. And from my hometown. So I felt the buzz because I was at WrestleCon and I got to talk to a lot of the fans that were going. And, it definitely left its mark on the world of professional wrestling. But if you watch this documentary, it talks about how Cody Rhodes was supposed to finish the story. That was the big tagline. Is he going to finish his story or not? Blah, blah, blah. And there's a lot of controversy because The Rock seems to take credit for like everything that happened at WrestleMania, so to speak.
as he should.
Everything pertaining to his involvement and the match itself and, what they were going to do. So I know you are a big Dwayne Johnson, The Rock fan.
That's right.
You could say you're an advocate for him, if you will. First of all, what did you think about the overall documentary?
This is why WWE is the leader in sports and entertainment. This is why, as a sports and entertainment production student, I wanted to work for them. Their production value is on another level. This was an amazing hour of wrestling footage that was shown. I mean, just for them to take you behind the scenes the way that they did, just give you enough, not everything, just give you just enough, but so perfectly shot, so well done. I loved every minute of it.
Yeah, I've said it a million times over and over again. I love when they take you, and no pun intended because it's the title, but behind the curtain, right? You're seeing backstage footage. You're like an insider, so to speak. You're getting to see the matches be put together, the camaraderie between the wrestlers, everything that Triple H is going through on the lead up to the WrestleMania. It's interesting as a fan to be able to watch this take place because like I said before, back in the day, the fans were, counting on the sheets to give them a little bit of an insider's edge, so to speak. And now you're getting to view it with your own eyes. So like the smart fans are getting even smarter. Kayfabe is completely dead, like I said. But I love this kind of journalism. I love watching behind the scenes footage more so than watching the actual matches sometimes, because I just find it intriguing. I was always a fan of how shows get put together. I told you several times I would just go up to the studio and watch Paul be so creative and put our hour of TV together and everything that goes into that, placing the matches where they are and the music to like certain moves. And it's just really, really interesting to me. So I love this kind of document to watch. And it was a fun hour.
Great.
Now, in the back of my mind, though, I'm thinking how much of this is a shoot and how much of it is a work. Because Cody, in my opinion, came off, and I'm not saying he's not, let's just put it out there, but he came off as the most professional person that I have ever witnessed in my life. Because if you are a performer and you are promised a main event title match at the biggest show of the year for your company, and that could potentially be taken away, I know a lot of guys who are going to curse, throw furniture. I've seen it. I've been privy to it. I have seen reactions. They're pissed off because you work so hard to get to the pinnacle. And then in 1 second, the rug is swooped out from under you, and then you're like, shit, what do I do? Right. But watching this, I'm like, he's calm, he's cool, he's collective. But is he really? Is there a reaction that we didn't see? What, was the plan all along told to him and he knew, but he's acting like he didn't know because the cameras are rolling? There's a lot going on that as a fan, you're not sure what is real and what is not. But in the same token, it played off beautifully for the hour of television that they gave us.
Yeah.
So
I think once that Nightmare Express door closed, that you might have seen the furniture getting closed, getting thrown, and stuff getting said that maybe the camera wouldn't have wanted picked up to portray Cody Rhodes as that eternal good guy.
and nothing is wrong with that. It's human emotion. Like, how can you not be pissed off at something you're working for 2 years? How can you not be pissed off at something like that? You know what I mean? His demeanor was kind of like, yeah, kind of happens, and just rolling with the punches, and we'll see how it plays out and stuff. But if that is what he acted like on a shoot and he was just calm, I applaud him. Because again, I know people and I've dealt with people, and I'm not going to say names, but I think you can get some names in your head. I've seen guys punch a wall when it was just in a television match. It wasn't even like a WrestleMania or a pay-per-view. It's just like, I'm so pissed off, throwing furniture, screaming at the top of their lungs. I've seen men cry. Just crazy stuff, that you see it backstage. It's never really talked about. It's embarrassing, quite frankly, but it's human emotion. And I just feel like, how can he not be pissed off? I don't know. But anyway,
I think he might have been. I think he could have been.
He held it in then.
If this wasn't really the story from a certain point going forward. And that's where I'm not sure what to separate, fantasy
Truth from fiction
and reality. And that's where they are telling the story. And at the end of the day, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, is, the number one actor in Hollywood to a certain extent. So where did they craft the story? Because when they're telling it and he gives away, and we'll get to it, of course, he gives away his match and then he takes it back. That's the part where it just it didn't really make a lot of sense. But that was the question I kept asking myself the whole time, is that I just feel like this was a part of the story they had from a certain time, but they told it so expertly in this 1 hour of TV, where sometimes, look, one of the criticisms we have of Dark Side of the Ring is we say, oh, well, they only have an hour of TV and they rush through everything. And it's like they glance over somebody who spent 10 years in one company in 35 seconds. Well, they've built up a 3-year essentially storyline with The Rock coming back. What do you say, 2021? They started talking about him and Roman. They started talking about that at the beginning of the hour, and then they finished this whole entire story by the end. So they took an hour and they brought you through where I feel other shows can't take that hour and really walk you through the timeline correctly.
And also, my husband made a point. He was like, this doc took longer to be produced and put out because, WrestleMania was at the beginning of April. I don't know if their docs are like, the turnover, is it quicker usually? Because he thought maybe like there were voiceovers done. He said a couple of the scenes sounded like they went back and they added voiceovers from The Rock. I don't know what turnover is for these type of shows.
Yeah, this is around the time you would see this documentary come out, because they've had these in the past. There was a big one that they had called The Mania Behind WrestleMania, and they put that out a year afterwards.
Okay.
Because they do take their time when they present WrestleMania, because they want it to look the way this looked.
And it looked great. Like I said, they told their story in an hour, and I didn't feel like they left anything out of it. I like with Dark Side, we say, oh my God, they didn't go into this, they didn't go into that, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like even though it was just an hour of TV, they got the point across. and I was left satisfied. Now, again, I don't know what's shoot, what's work, blah blah blah. But for the hour that they gave us, it was good TV. So let's go to the beginning. Um, so the Rock has come back. I had to use it.
Well, let me ask you this before we even get into The
Yeah,
Rock
sure.
coming back.
Okay.
The beginning really shows you the inside of what Triple H's WWE is starting to look like, and it shows you what his day-to-day is kind of like. So what did that look like to you as somebody that saw Triple H as an active superstar? Now you're seeing him as an executive. So what did you think about that, seeing him portrayed in that different role?
Well, I mean, he's been an executive for a really
But now
long
he's
time.
running the show. This is him running. This is his WrestleMania.
Yeah, the strain and the stress on that guy's shoulders has to be enormous. Like he's carrying the whole company right now, and of course he has a team helping him, but he is the main figure. So, a part of me kind of thinks that he might miss performing because we all have it in our blood, right? It's like well, I'm jumping ahead of myself, but when he took, I don't know if this was in the doc, but I saw him take a picture. Who was it with? Was it Cody? And he took the belt and he said, "I'm going to put the belt over my shoulder." He had a belt over his shoulder and he took a picture with like holding the belt. And I said to myself, like, oh man, it must bring back memories of him being an active superstar and performing. So I think, he probably misses that. His body probably doesn't miss it, but I think mentally you always had that urge to perform. He's getting, he's able to be creative in a different aspect now. He's behind the scenes, and I think everybody who performs has a mind for the business, because if you're successful, I believe that you can make a transition over to creative at some point. Now, not everybody's going to be as successful as Triple H, obviously, but I feel like there's always been a little bit of, when Vince was in there, maybe he thought, man, I can do this differently, and maybe this would work out better. Because the criticism of Vince was always like, he's too old. He's he's thinking of stuff that was in the 80s to get over and blah, blah, blah. And now he gets to do it his way without having to answer to anybody. So it's cool and it's working.
Yeah.
The numbers are going up, the ratings. Morale is very high from what I hear from, my insiders that are privy to what's going on in the locker room. And everybody thinks that Triple H is taking it in the right direction. So I do feel like he has the weight of the world on his shoulders, but I also feel like he's really digging his job because he gets to let his creative juices flow, and he's not being reprimanded for his ideas because he's in charge.
Yeah. Here he is in his.
Look how happy he looks in that picture.
Yeah. So he's very, he's very poised. He's very attentive. He's inside that boardroom and he's taken over. He's really, he's the cerebral assassin of the boardroom now.
Well, yeah, because for the longest time, Vince McMahon was the final say, and you could have the best idea in the world and Vince could go give you the thumbs down.
That's right.
Can't use it, and now Triple H is younger. He was a world champion, an active performer. I mean, you can say that Vince was as well, but not to the extent of Triple H. There's no way you can compare the two. So I think he has a better grip on what today's wrestling fan wants to see. And I think it is showing through creative right now.
I agree. Now, you said Vince McMahon had the final say, but was he the final boss?
Well, apparently not, because we've been told several times in this documentary that The Rock is the final boss, which I kind of like that statement. It was a good one, but yeah. So I mean, that's my theory. I could be 100% wrong, but that's how I see Triple H at this point.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah. So, all right. So take us through it. So we start.
So you're saying we start with The Rock. The Rock is back.
Rock comes back. Now, I'm kind of torn with The Rock coming back. Okay. Now I know it's more than an on-air role because now he is one of the bosses behind the scenes, right? He joins. What is his role with with the
He's on
TKO
the board of directors.
board of directors? Okay, so he has a lot of pull now, with
Right.
creative and with the show and with his character and all this stuff. I get it. Um, does he, because of all his accolades now, he's one of the world's biggest movie stars. He's a household name. Everyone knows who The Rock is. Does he need to come back as an on-air role on television? We've said this before. Is he taking away a spot from somebody else? He just created his own spot. Now, look, it's good for TV. People went nuts when he came out on that first episode when, the big return and stuff. I get it. People love The Rock. But is it necessary to be an on-air role?
Well, so when he was first coming back, he was just coming back as the cameo. And he was coming back and he would beat up a random heel and get the pop, and that's it.
Once you get that taste, it's like, I can do more.
That's it.
I can still go.
That's it.
I'm young enough. I got one more run in me. You know what I mean? But does he need it? He's the friggin' Rock. Does he really need it? And do you feel like, and we said this before, I think it was with Trish Stratus coming back. Do you think he's taking a spot from someone else? Because in this doc, he almost did take somebody's spot.
Yeah.
Almost is the key factor.
Well, he got the taste for sure. But here's what everybody forgets. He came back during the Writers Guild strike. Okay.
Because they couldn't get work.
Right. So that's why The Rock was around. So the TKO purchase of WWE, the board of directors, all that stuff was just around the time the Writers Guild strike was ending. So he's going to start going back to work, but he's got some time. So that's why The Rock was around more. And whatever project he's working on now that took him away, that's going to end and he'll be back. But he was around because of the Writers Guild strike.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people forget that.
Well, even still, he's on the board. So isn't that enough? Like, is it? Okay, he doesn't need the money. We know that. We know he doesn't need the money, number one. He doesn't need the extra paycheck from being an on-air personality. Agreed? Because
he does not, no.
He does not. Okay. So is it because he feels like it's good overall for the company to show his face and give it that extra push that they need? Or is it like an ego thing?
Well, a lot of people feel it's the ego thing because now his family is prominently displayed in the annals of WWE history. His daughter has a big spot on NXT television. His grandmother is now a WWE Hall of Famer when she had nothing to do with WWE. And that promotion that even got mentioned in this documentary, the Hawaii promotion, was notoriously not a great promotion for the boys to go to. It was a horrible paid promotion. The houses would be good every so often for the big shows when the big stars would come in, but not a great territory. And now the Anoa'i Johnson family side of his family, they're looked upon as luminaries because of him. So I don't know. I think an ego boost, but I do love him. So I have to give him credit for pushing all that to the forefront as part of his deal.
Yeah. And like I said, his return drew numbers. It wasn't like, it fell flat or anything. So it was profitable and the people loved it. But you just got to ask yourself, what is the reason for him coming back on TV? Because you could totally be behind the scenes and be happy and be working. So I don't know. It was just a question that I thought of. I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's a little bit of an ego thing, but also it was really good for business as well. So
right. And what I did love, though, is as they were building up The Rock's return, they did tell you the story of how the Rock Roman story had been built up for years. And I don't think a lot of people realize, because after a while, not a lot of people watched Young Rock. It had good ratings for a while, but then really dipped. but they started building the Rock and Roman storyline even on Young Rock, where they had a young Roman Reigns on the TV show Young Rock yell and acknowledge me over to somebody in the room and have the Dwayne Johnson actor in a headlock and say, no, we're not going to fight. One day we will, though. And they were even teasing it then, and purposely teasing it then, because this is how they felt this would be a money match at some point down the line. So Rock has had his eyes on this forever, because at some point he wants to put his cousin over and make him the ultimate star, I believe.
So you're hitting the nail on the head. You said at some point. Did that point have to be now at WrestleMania 40?
I think Rock saw the big 4-0 and saw that number and said, okay, I've been a WWE legend. I've been at X number of WrestleManias. I'm going to make my comeback at 40. That's going to be where I put Roman Reigns on another level. The whole thing with Roman Reigns was that he was going to surpass the Hulk Hogan milestone of days as champion, right? That was that whole thing. So he beats Rock, and then he surpasses the Hogan number of days. The Cody thing just got in the way. So Rock's plan was Rock's plan, and the Cody thing just got in the way. Again, as a guy that, as a fan, I would not have been a Cody fan as a kid. He just comes off as a disingenuous babyface to me. But Rock, as a guy on the outside, as a power pulling legend, he just goes, I see the number 40. I see the marquee match in my head. That's what I want. I'm just coming in, do what I want.
So this whole buildup, right? They're saying from 3 years prior or whatever. And the Rock says to himself, okay, this is the time I want to do it. Do we know if the office had any inkling of his thoughts about this? Because to me, why are you going to build Cody up and get him to this level and then have it taken away from him if they knew that The Rock was going to come in and try to pull this off for this WrestleMania? It's like, couldn't he have waited?
Yeah.
Couldn't you wait till next year? Cody wins, blah, blah, blah. And then you come out and then you start this great angle that you can carry over for a year until WrestleMania 41.
Right. And
why not? Why not do that?
Right. And so was this at some point figured out and they just carried it into the story we got? Or was this old school politics rearing its ugly head? Mm-hmm. And we got a guy who came up in the around guys from the 70s and 80s, and a guy who came up in the 90s and saw the politics and how they played and pulled the political card backstage and said, I'm getting the main event at WrestleMania 40.
Yeah, that's what I don't like about this whole scenario, because I'm telling you, things could change in the blink of an eye. We all know this by now. Like, my name would be on the wall, and 5 minutes later, I'd look and it'd be crossed out, and then I'd come back and it'd be back on the wall when I worked for WWE, right? Things can change the night of, but this is WrestleMania. This is something that everybody builds up to and everybody wants to be a part of. And reverse the roles. Like, if it was The Rock and somebody came in and tried to do that to him, would he like it? You know what I mean? Like, I just, as a human being, like, just think about it. And I know that a lot of people don't put that into consideration because everybody wants to get themselves over. But in watching this documentary, I was just like, they could have just, made him come out at the Raw after WrestleMania and then start a year-long feud between him and Cody and put Roman Reigns, when he comes back, put him in the scenario and just build it up. And I don't know, like, for me, I just wish it didn't have to go to this extreme.
In my head, if you want somewhat WWE history, I go back to 2002 when they brought in Hogan, Hall, and Nash, and Austin and The Rock were the two biggest guys. And literally it drove Steve Austin eventually out of the company because Steve Austin was on the brink of his, breakdown, essentially, where he walked out, where the creative was so bad because they had so many egos of what direction do you go in that they ended up having to book themselves into a corner and book Hogan versus The Rock. So they ended up booking a dream match because they had no place to go because so many guys and so many hands and so many pots that they wanted to go in one direction and they had to go in this direction and this direction because so many people would say yes and then no and then we can't do this and we can do this. So that's the only thing I could point to where Rock would have seen where we were supposed to go this way, but then because of this other thing coming in, we had to pivot. So he was just like, yeah, political card. Yep,
Yeah,
I'm here. It's The Rock.
Well,
Smell what I'm cooking. I'm
yeah,
here.
we smell it, and it smells like a pile of shit.
But now, so then, like you said about Cody, right?
Yeah. So
like you said, just all around professional. The guy exudes the essential baby face of 2024. This is the guy that kids love. He said he's the quote he had was essentially, I'm paraphrasing because I don't have the exact one, but he's been the champion without the belt on the road.
Okay.
I think that's pretty accurate.
I from what I've seen of Cody, he's great with fans. He's a company man. He's a team player. He took this on the chin. He really did, and he just went with it. And like I said, kudos to him. I don't know how much was acting. Inside, it's got to be eating you up. It had to be because they put all their faith in one guy who was Cody Rhodes, and then it's like, no, buddy, you're not going to get it this time. So it's kind of a slap in the face. You work really, really hard for something, and then you don't get it. And to me, that's just a shitty move, So then we want Cody trending, and it starts trending for 72 hours straight. Anytime you went on your socials, all I saw was hashtag we want Cody.
Yeah.
Everywhere. So now when it was announced, they showed reactions, and this was pretty cool. They showed reactions of Twitch streamers and YouTubers and gave them credit underneath for their channels and all this stuff.
Yes, which I had a gripe with WWE. Okay. Where were we? We reacted to all that. Where were we? Busted Open got credit.
Yes.
Twitch streamers got random Twitch people got credit. What the heck, WWE?
Well,
you got two alums right here.
It's okay. It's fine. But they showed the reactions. We're finally getting The Rock and Roman, and everybody at first was like, yes, this is so great.
Yeah.
But then it kind of sunk in, and it was like, wait a minute. Cody doesn't get to finish his story. So then it kind of turned, and most people were pissed off, and they started tweeting and writing about it and reacting to it, and people were legit hot. Legit hot. Like, I mean, people were like almost rioting. They were so mad. I remember somebody told me after one of the shows, a live event, they went out and they started flipping trash cans because they were so in the parking lot. They were so pissed off. They started flipping the trash cans. So mad. Wrestling fans are very passionate. If you didn't know.
Cody crybabies, if you ask me.
Crybaby Cody. Yeah, or the Cody crybabies, well, whatever you want to call it. The Rock now, and this is the memes have been going nuts. There he is. And he feels the pain of the fans, and he knows what they want, and they want Cody. So he says, we need to pivot and we need to think of something that's going to make everybody happy. So initially, he is taking credit for the call of putting Cody back into the title scene. What do you think about that?
Smart guy, smartest man in the room.
You think that it was his idea?
He called Nick Khan. He called Ari Emanuel. Ari Emanuel sat there for a second and then said, fuck yeah, let's do it.
Wait a minute. You don't think this had anything to do with Triple H or creative saying, WWE Universe is really pissed off. Like, we have to think of something. You think this was all The Rock?
Triple H said, Rock, you got to step aside.
Oh, dear God.
Rock, get the hell out of the picture, buddy. Get the memo.
Well, let me tell you, the memes The memes were going crazy, and they're creating them all over the place. So one said, I said to Vince, I said to Vince, let's call it WrestleMania, was one of the memes. So he created WrestleMania. Another guy said to Steve Austin, I said, Steve, just call it the Stone Cold Stunner. And he created the Stone Cold Stunner. Another one said, I was a kid just shaking my hips. And then Mr. Presley nodded his head in approval. So he taught Elvis Presley how to dance. I mean, they're comparing him.
Believe it.
Oh shit! They're comparing him to the Hulk Hogan lies that we talked about. Hulk Hogan was creating all these situations that put himself over, and people wanted him in Metallica. People, crazy stuff. And these are the memes that are going around, and they're pretty funny. They're pretty funny. And I don't know if The Rock is laughing or if he's legit pissed at these, but there's a lot of them out there.
You know what it reminds me of? Do you remember when the Michael Jordan documentary was out, or the Chicago Bulls documentary was out like 2 years ago? And they started sharing the Michael Jordan meme where he was like, and I took that shit personally. That's what this is now.
There you go.
That's this one. But I think a lot of people look at The Rock in this, in this current state with the glasses and the shirt, the way he looks. And like, this is Dwayne Johnson, folks. This is not, $500 shirt, The Rock. This is the guy.
That's a silk shirt, by the way. That's a very nice shirt he's wearing.
Nice shirt. This is the guy who he is now. Okay. You got to keep that in mind. He's been Hollywoodized. Okay. So what do you think Hollywood people are? Okay, they take credit for everything. They think that they're in this dream world that they are, where they're the center of attention and everything that happens is revolving around them. So of course he's going to say that he came up with the idea, because in his world everybody kowtows to him. So he thought of it. Somebody look at what he said. Brian Gewirtz is his right-hand man, right? Brian Gewirtz probably said something relating to Cody Rhodes, and he probably said it, and I thought of it. Just like that. So in his world, maybe he did think of it.
I wish Hunter, they would have showed Hunter, and Triple H goes, yeah, that was kind of my idea. I wish it would have been something like dueling.
You're crazy, Rock.
Dueling ideas. Nonetheless, I feel like they do the right thing and they change the booking, right? Do you agree?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, depending
on... you would have rather seen The Rock and Roman Reigns for this one?
Yes, I would have.
Okay, so what would we have gotten night one? If they kept it the way it was, what would we have gotten night one?
You could have put Cody in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. He would have done well winning that.
That's so... You're not a Cody fan. I get it. I get it.
You get Cody and Seth Rollins.
No, I'm saying with The Rock and Roman, like, what would we have gotten for night one, do you think? Because that's a night
Roman,
two match.
Superman punch, 1, 2, 3, passes the torch. That's it.
There's 2 nights to WrestleMania. The main event would have been on night 2. What would we have got?
Cody, whatever Cody thing is, to
Cody
Seth
and
Rollins.
Roman?
No, night 2, then Cody and Seth.
What
1, 2,
would
3,
we
Cody
have
wins.
gotten on night 1 is my question to you.
Then your main event of night 1 is Rock and Roman.
You can't have Rock and Roman 2 nights in a row.
No, if you want a main event of night 1, it's Rock and Roman. You want a main event of night 2, it's Seth and Cody. Or vice versa. Flip them.
I don't.
If you got 2 championships in 2 nights, you got to put 1 championship on each night.
You don't think that The Rock wants to incorporate himself in both shows like he did? With the tag match, they put the tag match on night 1 and the main event on night 2 with all the run-ins.
That's why I think that this was the plan all along.
So you're telling me that creative knew he was coming back and fed Cody lies this whole time. That's your conspiracy theory.
I think they were all in on it.
Well, that's terrible if that's the truth. That's terrible.
All in on it.
That's terrible.
WrestleMania 1's first main event was a tag match. So WrestleMania 40, it makes sense. Have a big tag match. Makes perfect sense to me.
If you were the talent, if you were in Cody's shoes, wouldn't you feel slighted? If this was the plan all along and they're lying to you, do you want to work for a company like this?
Hey, he came back for the money. So, I mean, I guess.
Man.
But, like I said, the only thing that doesn't make sense to me is the coming out on Raw or whatever show it was, and he gives the match to The Rock and says, I talked to my counsel and here's The Rock, right? And then 3 days later is like, it's not your choice. It's my choice to decide who I face at WrestleMania. But that whole segment didn't happen. Like that's
because they changed that's when the We Want Cody thing started. And that's when The Rock had that's when The Rock had the epiphany. Oh my God, the light bulb goes off. We have to appease to the WWE universe. I have to change this according to the documentary.
Brian Gewirtz is the one that gave him the idea then for the tag match because Brian Gewirtz is the guru.
He's not crediting Brian for any of this. He's crediting himself. I don't know where you're getting your information.
No, Brian Gewirtz he gave for the idea of the tag match.
I don't know where you got that information.
He said that. He said it on the thing. He said Brian Gewirtz gave him the idea of the tag match.
He said it. He said that 100%.
Yeah, they showed a little picture of little Brian Gewirtz.
I saw a little Brian. Saw a picture of him on there. I thought The Rock was taking credit for that as well, that creative booking.
Well, he did take credit for it. He said that Brian Gewirtz gave him like the template of the idea.
And he created
passed it to him. Right. He said, hey, Rock, here's this idea for you on a silver platter.
All I'm saying is that if this was the plan from day one, shitty. Just shame on them. Shame on them to build up somebody that much and just pull it from them. And if the fans didn't react like they did, I don't think it would have changed. Right? It would have been the same exact thing.
Right.
So
and the X factors too. CM Punk got injured. Right. Triple H brings it up. He says this wasn't happening if CM Punk didn't get injured.
Yeah.
Then we would have had Rollins and Punk.
Right. And then what happens? Even so, then what happens then? If Punk was still in the equation, it would have been worse.
Yeah, Cody's definitely he's out.
It would have been worse, man.
There would be no Roman Cody because Cody, Andre the Giant Battle Royal, great spot for you. Great spot. I think it was on SmackDown.
Well, you could thank the WWE Universe because I truly believe that if they weren't adamant about this We Want Cody thing, it might have just been the same. We might have got a different result and then Cody would have been on the back burner. So
can I tell you what my favorite part of the documentary was?
I'm afraid to ask you.
No, it's nothing bad. I'm just pointing out my favorite part. When Rock walked the production crew through the new entrance.
When he does this with the camera.
When he does the whole thing with the camera and the hit T-square for where he wanted to be on the mark. That is why I love the wrestling industry and wanted to be in wrestling production is because of that. Because of just the whole thing that goes into the rehearsal and how they walk through it and the transformation from babyface Rock into heel. Oh my gosh, it was so great. And they showed the run through. That to me was worth the price of watching this for an hour. It was just that whole rehearsal segment that they had on here, going through it backstage, then coming out, and then Triple H coming through it too and seeing how it looked. Like I just thought that was so cool. So that to me was my favorite part of this whole documentary.
And then you wonder why wrestlers get so hot when the cameras miss certain moves. Because if we're going to do something, we always tell either the handheld or production or something, hey, I'm going to do this move. Make sure when you see so-and-so, hit me with the chair, or when you give them a build up because your move's coming up. And when they miss that move, it's like, oh, that has happened so many times. And it's so frustrating because, we do walk you through it. We do, if something big's happening, we always do walkthroughs and we tell them, like, look out for this. And most of the time they're on the mark, but when they miss it, It is so frustrating. I hate that. And that's
Yeah.
happened to me before too.
This
So
was just, I mean, they had 2 producers, they had the camera guy, I mean, they had the director, I mean, they were all there,
yeah,
each single person getting their cue of what
yeah,
to do when, because that was lights out, Rock had to know where to stand, the
right.
camera was head on, I mean, that was just beautiful, beautiful stuff.
Again, interesting to look inside production and what they do and in Gorilla. I love seeing in Gorilla. Now it does take away uh the magic. It does take away for the fans, to see the baby face come through the curtain and hug the heel and say, "How was it? Was it good? Did you like it?" Blah blah blah. That takes away the magic to me. But I'm in the business, so I know all that already, and I love it. I love seeing that kind of stuff. But again, the main focus of this documentary is Cody going to get his shot? And ultimately, he got it. And I enjoyed both matches. I watched it. I enjoyed both matches. I enjoyed The Rock being there. I enjoyed all the cameos in night 2's main event. And a lot of people were on the fence. Some liked it and some said, "Oh my God, what is going on? There's too many people. Why is John Cena running down the ramp? Why is The Undertaker in the ring?" I was digging it. I liked it. Yeah. To me, it was just like, "Oh my God, he's here. Oh my God, he's here." I thought it was cool. A lot of people shit on it. I did not. I liked it. So overall, I loved this doc. I loved that Cody did get to technically finish his story. I feel like he deserved it. He came back from being in AEW, and I'm sure he was promised a lot of different things. And if he didn't get this, I just felt like it would have been a huge mistake on their part. And I do feel like he is a very he's the company face. I feel like he's a good representation of what a champion should be. And look at him. He's a workhorse. I've said that about several men. I look at Cody and I see a star. And I see someone who could be the next John Cena or the next Rock in Hollywood down the line. But, he's got wrestling in his blood. His dad is Dusty, for God's sakes. His brother's Dustin. They are a wrestling family. I feel he's doing a great job. I know you don't like him, but you got to admire the work ethic.
Absolutely.
Shit knocked out of him. He doesn't
Absolutely.
complain. He comes back. He does what he's told. And he does it in a way that, you could look at him and you could say, what a gentleman. Because that's
100%.
what he is. He's a gentleman. And he has an element of class about him, just the way he handles himself and the way that he just, I don't know. I just feel like he is the right man at this time to represent the WWE with all the changes that they're going through. I feel like they need somebody positive to be their representation. And I just feel like Cody is the man to do so. And that is my stance on it.
No, and I'm glad The Rock also felt the same way and, decided
and he
to
changed everything. So
put
good on
Cody
you.
up there. No, I like Cody in the same way that you just described. I'm just saying, as if I was a fan growing up in this era, I wouldn't like him in the same way that there was a ton of fans that did not like Hulk Hogan in my era growing up. They did not like the train, say your prayers, eat your vitamins. In the same way there was,
I get it, because I'm a heel kind of girl. I tend to like the heels more than the baby faces, but I'm looking at it through a business perspective. And,
right. No, I get
and
it.
I'm looking at
100%.
it as talent.
Right guy for the job.
Yeah, yes. But I'm also looking at it as a human being and as a person who is, leaving one company to come here and giving his all. And it's just like a normal job. You work hard, you're promised things. If you're promised a raise and then they go, oh, you know what? Can't afford to give you that extra $1.50 an hour. You're deflated. And it's like, shit, I was really counting on that raise. Here, Cody is told time and time again, you're going to be champ. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And then WrestleMania comes. Yeah, we're not going to do that. And it's like, are you kidding me? You know what I mean? It's as talent, that is the worst thing you can hear when you've done everything right. Now, if you're a dickhead and you're fighting with, people backstage and you're fighting with management and you're not good with the boss, I get being pulled. But this guy's doing no wrong here that I know of. I've never heard anything negative about him as a worker. You know what I mean? As talent. So it's shitty to pull something like this at the last minute. It's just not, it's not a good look.
Yeah.
And also, The Rock is coming off as the savior in this documentary. He just saved everything. So how much truth is there to that? We'll never know. But was it entertaining television? Yes, it was.
There's one guy we really haven't mentioned. It's this guy.
I love him.
He came off excellent in the documentary. I thought Roman came off excellent.
He was kind of under the radar in this whole documentary.
Absolutely, 100% correct.
Yeah,
absolutely
it was like,
right.
I'm not going to say too much. And I mean, maybe he said more and it went to the cutting room floor. I don't know. But yeah, he came off like a team player as well. It's like, I'll do whatever. It doesn't bother me either way. He wasn't going over either, with he knows he's not going over with Cody. So he's just like, it's okay. And maybe he knew like he was taking some time off coming up and, I'll just do what's right for the company. Again, another gentleman, another team player in this. Good stuff. I'm not saying The Rock is like, the devil or anything. I'm just curious. But I'm a fan of his character, and I loved the heel Rock. I loved when he turned and was just healing everybody. I love the heels. I always have. I've always gravitated to the heels more so than the baby faces. I'm looking at it business-wise as I'm a performer and I am under WWE contract and this is what I'm promised. And then I don't get that. That's the way I'm perceiving this hour of television.
Right.
I'm not perceiving it as just like a fan watching. Oh, I wish the babyface would go over. No, I'm looking at it through business eyes. And it's bad business if they would have taken that spot away from Cody. And that's what I believe. So I'm glad it worked out the way it did. I really am. And I did enjoy WrestleMania as a whole.
I completely agree with you.
And maybe I'm partial because of ECW's strong appearance in this because it was Philadelphia.
But I was just going to say, you can thank The Rock for that. The Rock said he was the one that was behind ECW's inclusion on WrestleMania. It was all because of The Rock.
Wow.
Rock said ECW needs to be included in this, and that is a Dwayne Johnson directive. Please make sure that Paul Heyman, the wise man of the bloodline at that time, he needs to be in the Hall of Fame. That is it's on the board, the internal memo.
Is that what it is?
Okay. Well,
you need to stop putting words into The Rock's mouth because The Rock did not say that. But I'm a fan. Nonetheless, I'm a fan of The Rock. I'm a fan of Cody. I think he's doing a hell of a job. I'm glad it played the way it did. And I feel like if you have not watched this doc, you should give it a look-see because it was interesting just to see the backstage engineering and how everything goes. I really dig that about these docs that they're taking you, into their world beyond the mat. So it's interesting to see. Yeah.
And then I told Paul Heyman, have her pull down her tights and she'll have franchise written on her rear end.
Well, guess what? I appreciate that because that was a turning point in my career. So thank you, Rock, for suggesting that. I'm telling you, The Rock takes credit for everything, and you're going to see all these memes.
And then I told him, throw down the belt and say, it's now the Extreme championship wrestling title.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, he's done it all, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my God, that was exhausting. Well, that's my take. I don't know what you guys feel, but that's the way we saw it. So, did you like it? Did you hate it? What did you think about WrestleMania 40? Are you a Cody fan?
Or
Comment below.
Or Cody crybaby.
Yeah, which one are you? Hashtag. We want Cody or hashtag Cody crybaby.
Yeah, and if you want to check this out, it's called WrestleMania Behind the Curtain. It's on YouTube fully. The whole thing on YouTube. If you have YouTube Premium, you can watch it commercial free.
Nice.
Just like I did.
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. All right. Well, we got a lot coming up this week on YouTube as well. We are recording this week. We have several different ideas that we're going to be dropping throughout the week. So if you're not subscribed, go over to my YouTube channel. It is ECW Diva Francine ! And go subscribe. Fresh content on the way. Can't wait to do there. It's going to be funny stuff. We're thinking outside the box a little bit, and we're going to film some things because it's been just heavy wrestling, which is fine because that's what I do. But I want you guys to see the other side of the Chadster and I, and we could be silly sometimes. So head on over, and we're going to drop some videos this week, and it's going to be a good time. And subscribe. And if you're not subscribed for the podcast feed, iHeart, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast, either follow us or subscribe. It is Eyes Up Here with Francine. You have to put the with Francine in. And, let's get these numbers up because we're producing really good content, in my opinion. And listen, I'm going to take credit for this whole show. I'm going to put myself over like The Rock did. And I am the podcasting world. I'm taking it by storm, and we are blowing up, ladies and gentlemen. So continue to fight the good fight and help the cause, and just subscribe when I tell you to. Thank you very much.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, and also this weekend, I'm going to plug it really quick. 80s, good Lord. 90s Wrestling Con is an event that I will be at on Saturday and Sunday. And it is at the ACX1 Studios at the Pier at Caesars on the boardwalk in Atlantic City. 1 Atlantic City, New Jersey, 08401. I will be there Saturday from 11 to 4 and Sunday from 9 to 3, I think. Something like that. I know
that's what it was.
Start time is 11 on Saturday. Start time is 9 on Sunday. I'd appreciate if you're in the area, come down and see us. A bunch of ECW legends will be there, and it's going to be a good time. I can't wait to go. So that is this weekend coming up. 90s Wrestling Con. Be there.
Yes.
Be there. Yes. What do you got going on? You have anything brewing?
I will be on what is the name of it? It's the Around the Ballpark podcast. Around the Ballpark podcast. Yeah. Coming up. I think it drops around the 14th.
Okay.
It's a baseball podcast. Looking forward to being on there. Going to be talking about the Mets, but also talking about my dad's experience when he was a veteran of the game at Citi Field. So very happy. Love to talk about that. That was one of the greatest experiences that I've ever had in a baseball stadium. So
awesome. And
put us around the ballpark.
Yeah, and put us over on that.
100%. It's all it's wrestling. It's going to be baseball, but talk about my dad as well when he was honored by the New York Mets.
Nice. Okay. Well, if you are in a hot climate, please stay cool. And that's all we got for today. So I hope you're staying safe. I hope you're staying healthy. And most of all, I hope you're staying extreme.